Sean Monahan joined the Winnipeg Jets for his first practice with the team Sunday. The 29-year-old was acquired in a trade on Friday from Montreal. Is expected to be on the line with Nick Ehlers and Cole Perfetti. And Monahan is expected to make his Jets debut Tuesday in Pittsburgh.
As a player, all you want to do is have a chance to play in the playoffs, and I think going to have a good chance here, and I mean, try and push it and go far on a good run. So I mean, and playing in a Canadian market, doing that, it makes it that much more special. This is the most nervous I've been for a practice in a long time. I mean, you're coming, meeting new people, coming to a new facility, and get to know everything. So I mean, driving here, I was nervous, and even before I stepped on the ice, I was nervous. So I think to still have that, that's a good feeling.
That nervous energy, maybe not such a bad thing, as our NHL analyst Martin Biron joins us. I always get nervous talking to Marty because he was a very famous NHL goaltender back in his day. Marty, the Monahan trade, we've been talking about it all weekend.
Yeah.
In your opinion, is it enough to get the Jets over the top in the Central, or do they need to make another move?
No, I think that's enough. Look, if they want to make another move and look at depth and matchups when it comes to the playoffs, that's fine. But if you're looking at the Jets right now, I think it solidifies their middle of the ice. And if there's injuries from now until the end, then you have an extra body that can play different style of play, can play on the power play, can be more of a defensive type of guy, can produce offensively. So I think Monahan to the Jets is definitely putting them over the top. And if you like to compare them to, let's see, the Avalanche, which, they're battling in the Central Division right now, I think the biggest thing, and I'm always going to go back to goaltending, is the goaltending. You look at Hellebuck and Brossoit compared to Georgiev and who else? Like Prosvetov? Like I'm not sure that, you've got the same tandem, the same duo in Colorado that you do in Winnipeg. And for me, that's what it's going to come down to. Whoever wins the Central Divisions, because both of their goaltenders and not just one of them is going to get the job. Georgiev, most starts, most minutes played. He's almost like the Hellebuck of the years past. And, we saw what happened with the Jets in the years past is you kind of phase yourself out of the picture because you're getting tired. So I think that's what it comes down to between the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. It's going to be goaltending, not just the starter, but the duo, the tandem with Brossoit and Hellebuck taking over.
I think that's a great point. Oilers come out of the All-Star break trying to make history, Marty. 16-game win streak. They can tie the 93 Penguins if they make it 17 wins in a row and a win over Vegas on Tuesday. And then they can break that record Friday against the Anaheim Ducks. Marty, will they do it?
Yes, they will do it. And I know the Vegas game is going to be probably the most challenging of the last little bit here. I thought Nashville was going to be challenging, but they did really good. I'm looking at Vegas. Adin Hill, that's the key. He's been back 2 games. He's had 2 wins, given up only 2 goals in each of these games. But for the Edmonton Oilers, do what you've been doing through the 16 games. They've been so good defensively. 24 goals given up in 16 games. I mean, that's 1.5 on average. Well, plus or minus. I know there's been some, extra time and overtime games and whatnot, but that's how you're going to beat the Vegas Golden Knights. I think if you're trying to go toe-to-toe and try to win this game 6-5 on Tuesday, it's not going to be the case. Adin Hill is having a great season, and he'll be able to kind of give you that matchup in the net that maybe you weren't getting with some of the teams that you've played. So for me, if you're the Oilers, you got to play well defensively. That's been your calling card. You got an extra day, too. The game's Tuesday. There's teams that play on Monday night, but the Oilers have an extra game to prepare, kind of breathe through it, and then go ahead and win that 17th, and then keep on going 18, 19, 20. Let's see where it goes.
And, Marty, Stuart Skinner's been playing a lot of games as well, as you know, and he's been playing well, obviously. He's a big part of the reason why they've got these 16 straight wins. We were talking to Ryan Rishaug, our Edmonton bureau chief, and he doesn't think the Oilers will make a move to add more goaltending depth. He just doesn't think they need to. Jack Campbell's playing better. Calvin Pickard's played well as his backup. Do you agree with Ryan, Marty, or would you like to see Ken Holland add a piece at the deadline?
No, I totally agree. I think when you look at the Edmonton Oilers and Stuart Skinner, I think it's been a rough start to this season, but he definitely changed, and really in a positive way, and is making such an impact right now that when you look at Stuart Skinner and his numbers, obviously over the last 16 games, he's number 1 in the NHL in goals saved above expectation. But when you look at since they made the coaching change, he's 4th in the NHL in goals saved above expectation. So he's definitely been able to overcome the bad start that he had. The Oilers are playing great defensively. They're second best in expected goals against since the hiring of Knobloch behind the bench. I think that it's helping Stuart Skinner. And look, I'm never going to say you don't need great goaltending to win a Stanley Cup. That's not me. Even last year, Adin Hill was a case on his own. He played great when he came in, and the Vegas Golden Knights were great defensively. But Darcy Kemper was 11th in goal save above expectation when Washington won the Cup. You've got Vasilevsky, obviously. He's one of the best. And Jordan Binnington, in only a half a season, was still top 15 in goal save above expectation. Imagine if he had played a full season when St. Louis won. So you still need great goaltending. I think that he doesn't have to be a Hall of Fame goaltender, but a goaltender that plays at a high level. Stuart Skinner is playing at a high level, and if he keeps it going, they're totally fine.
Marty, let's head east. The Toronto Maple Leafs currently holding on to that first wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. Is there a move that Brad Treliving could make leading up to the deadline that would make you a believer, Martin Biron, a believer that this team is maybe a cup contender?
Well, he can't change the offense. They've got their main guys. What are you going to add? Another guy that could score 20, 30 goals, maybe 40 during a season? No, that's not going to happen. You have your main guys offensively. You're not going to do anything in net either, in my opinion. You're going to wait for Joseph Woll to come back. So, Ilya Samsonov, I almost said Sergei Samsonov. That is way back in Boston days. But Ilya Samsonov has been doing good. But on defense, on the blue line, I think you get add a piece. The biggest thing for me is if you're going to add a piece on the defense, on the blue line, you have very little cap space, so it has to fit in on the cap. And it has to be, I would love somebody that's not just a rental, somebody that has maybe some term on defense that Brad Treliving, Brendan Shanahan can say, hey, let's add this piece. It's not going to be just a Band-Aid for this season. We're looking at not only this year, we're looking at next year, we're looking at the year after. Let's make it happen. I look at a guy like Andrew Peeke with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's 25 years old. He has 2 years left at $2.75 million. Even that $2.75 million a year is going to be tight under the cap this year, but maybe you can maneuver some money around and make it fit. But you look at a guy that can block shot, can play well defensively, and can fit within your structure for a few more years. So I think this is the type of player, the type of contract that I would look at acquiring on the blue line to make the Leafs a better team.
If not, they could get Sergei Samsonov. He did win the Calder, Marty, as you remember. He was a great player. Now, I don't know how he's looking these days. I'm not sure. But
should we call him Sam Samsonov, like Sam Bobrovsky at the All-Star Challenge? I think this was a missed opportunity by Connor McDavid, by the way. Should have said, and my next pick, you're on the case, Bobrovsky. Come on off. Let's go.
Yeah, but then he would have had to pay me some money, Marty, and I have a copyright on that. But that's a whole other thing. Marty, what about the Vancouver Canucks? You know, they add Lindholm. First of all, I never really got a chance to ask you what you thought of that deal, but in your opinion, is that enough to give them the President's Trophy? We know they're cup contenders, but they want to lock down that President's Trophy.
Yeah, listen, I think they are the best team in the regular season right now. They are a triple threat. They have great offense, and they added Elias Lindholm that can definitely make a top six even better right now. What if you want to go 1, 2, 3 down the middle? You can keep JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Elias Lindholm down the middle. Maybe you move somebody to the wing, and then you have a great top six. So they got the great offense. They got one of the best defense pair in the National Hockey League with Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronek. So that is what you need. And you got the great goaltender, right? That's a triple threat right now, and they even got better. So they were, for me, the best team in the National Hockey League, or one of the best. Now they've put themselves over the top. So, yeah, I think that the Vancouver Canucks are not sitting here, a month before the trade deadline saying, oh, maybe we're going to look for a piece or two, and let's see. They made their move. They're letting the league know, and they're putting the league on notice. We want to be the best team in the regular season. We want to be the best team in the playoffs. We want to win the Stanley Cup. We want to have home ice advantage throughout the whole time. Come through Vancouver if you want to win something significant in the spring. And with Lindholm's deal, I think you did exactly that. They started with Zadorov. I think it started, a little while ago, but now they're definitely the better team.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Let's look down the road to the playoffs. Marty, is there a team currently on the outside of the East playoffs that you think can actually make it? And who do you think that they replace? Okay,
this is going to be a leap of faith because I think the New Jersey Devils can still make the playoffs. It hasn't been a great season for the Devils. Their goaltending's been terrible. Maybe they had a piece in net. And if Jack Hughes comes back and he's healthy, and that's the big if, right? Coming back, being healthy, producing like he was producing earlier in the season, I think the Devils can do it. Now, you look at the standings, and it's a little bit misleading because they're 7 points back of Detroit and Toronto. But it's not the wild card that the New Jersey Devils are looking at. It's at Philadelphia. Philadelphia's third in the Metropolitan Division, and they're 5 points ahead of New Jersey. I think New Jersey catches Philadelphia. Philadelphia falls out of the top three, and they won't be in the wild card spot because right now it's Toronto and Detroit. So New Jersey, swap them with Philly, and that's the way I see the season and with the playoff race in the Metro.
Marty, does that mean you think Pittsburgh will not be making the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh is going to have enough down the stretch. Look, they added Erik Karlsson, and it was going to be this great, Harlem Globetrotters type of power play, type of offensive team, and it hasn't been. Now, Crosby's playing great, and that's awesome, but it hasn't been that type of year for Pittsburgh. I think they miss again this season.
It's a tough one for them. We'll see if they start a rebuild. How about out west? This is incredible, Marty. 4 teams separated by 4 points in the wild card. Who do you think gets in? Who do you think gets bumped?
Okay, well, the LA Kings definitely made that kind of interesting with all the, 3 wins in 17, and now they made a coaching change. I think that's going to boost the LA Kings. So I don't think there's going to be significant change. I think the 8 teams in the West right now are going to stay in their spot, or at least in the playoff spot. You look at St. Louis and LA as wild card team right now. But if let's play the if game, if there's a team that can come in and scramble things up, I think it's the Nashville Predators. I mean, they still have some really good firepower in Forsberg, and they can have Ryan O'Reilly play the type of game that we know he can, and you see Saros in net and Roman Josi and all of that. So I think if Nashville gets hot, and if the LA Kings somehow can't figure it out, like they haven't been able to figure out in the last month, I think Nashville gets ahead of LA. I think St. Louis is going to stay in that race. I love the St. Louis Blues, and Jordan Binnington, when he just focuses on playing goal, he's a lot better. Last year, he led the league in penalty minutes from goaltending position. This year, 0 penalty minutes. So that's good, right? Like, let's just stay in the crease, play the game. I think St. Louis stays in. I think Nashville may be able to catch LA, but that's a big if. I think the top 8 stays that way in the West.
2 months, just over 2 months until the playoffs. This is when things really start getting fun. This guy's always fun. Martin Biron, our NHL analyst. Thanks, Marty.
I was nervous too.